Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Freemen Flash Take 2. Now, as several of you are aware, we had a lot of different errors and problems happening yesterday, which of course caused issues with development. That was primarily, I'll say honestly, that was my fault. Yesterday I had some real life things happen that caused hasty production, hasty deliverance of information. So Sloth and I are here today doing it the right way and uploading it to YouTube and all those fun things. Say hello. Yeah, Sloth says hello. So we're going to get right into kind of more the bulk and gist of what was being talked about yesterday, which was, first off, the most important information and what a lot of you are tuning in for is SOT. So I'll knock that out first. SOT and what's going on with the SOT fleet, which is why we're in a boat on GTA, because Sloth doesn't have SOT on his Xbox. Shame, Sloth. You need to get a better Xbox. That is true as well. That would also solve the problem. I can't play SOT on the PC. I mean, I understand the PC is great. I do love the load times, but I have to plug a controller in. Your guys' controls are weird. I can. I will give them that. But yeah, PC controls are strange in my regard, in my mind. So yeah, that's another discussion. Let's go ahead and get into what's going on with the SOT fleet, or the rebirth of the SOT fleet. First off, the process. Okay, so just so you all are well aware, we are currently in pretty much, we just completed step 2, which is getting the Freemen as a whole to vote on if they would like to have an active fleet in the game. Now, when that first vote went out, the officers all weighed in, all said what we saw what they were, and then all the officers pulled their vote out. We did take them into consideration. Don't think that we're not taking the officers' votes into consideration. Understand that there's going to have to be new people to take over officer positions, and current standing officers can't also be officers elsewhere. The workload's already too heavy on them. That's just giving them more work. That's not exactly fair. So they pulled back out of the vote after they, their voices were heard and seen, and then we let to see what the bulk of the Freemen felt and said, and how they wanted to proceed forward. Once we got that a full vote, which was rather impressive, I would say within like about what was about. It wasn't even like a full 24 hours, was it, Sloth? No, I mean, you had the bulk of the votes within the first 12 hours. It was those last couple that got the Freemen. But the votes are in. It is there. The support is there. So that is step 2 now complete, which means that it is official. We are moving forward. Now, not to go into crazy detail because I don't want to make this video too long, the next step is the reevaluation of the Constitution and verification of a charter for that particular game. We already know that that problem won't be an issue because there was already a fleet for that game. That's where the Constitution got its start. The Freemen are built for team-based games such as SOT. So that won't be a concern, but we still have to do it to stay fair. After that will be a checking and call to arms for officers. You'll probably see that actually going out today, the 19th of February. So that's going to be going out and asking for anybody and everybody that volunteers to be an officer. Now let me explain something to you. There's a massive difference between an active officer and a support officer, and you are not guaranteed the officer role you want. Now when I talk to you, I will try to take that into consideration, but understand this. This is the one thing. If you volunteer for an officer, you are absolutely guaranteed a position either in the supporting or active role. However, it does not exactly mean the officer position you want. What's going to happen is that once you volunteer, I'll reach out to every single person that volunteered. I'm then going to go ahead and do a full review of player information files. That was the file that was created when you joined the Freemen, and people are going to be temporarily assigned based on those files, details in those files, their activity, how much have they done for the Freemen in the past, do they have the capability to give more, are they interested in giving more. The other side of things is that the active officers. Support officers go into their roles and into their jobs based on their skill. They are very skilled at something. That doesn't mean they're 100% in a position to lead the Freemen. Well, the active officers are considered the leaders of the Freemen. You are considered as important as a leader. You represent the Freemen and you have voting power for the upper echelon of it. The pirate lord, the lords of a fleet, and the captains of a fleet are the most large, powerful voting entity in the Freemen. It's extremely important that those individuals be selected fairly and justly. So, the other side of that is they are also going to go through testing. This means everybody will be tested. I do know that there is a handful of retirees that are like, I'll come back to be an SOT officer. Yes, even they will be tested. They will all be retested. It is to make sure they're upholding the constitutional core values flawlessly, that they understand what they're getting into again, and that they understand their tasks. A lot of officers will tell you that when it comes to being a member of the officer corps in the Freemen, it is like having a second job where you're not paid. And unlike my support officers, where honestly I'm very forgiving to support officers and what goes on with support officers and how they handle that, support officers are really trusted to their things. I try not to get involved with the head counselor and his GSOs, and I'm trying not to get involved with the NEO and his network officers. I kind of let the supports run themselves, as is their task. However, active officers, on the other hand, I am very much involved with. When you are meant to be representing the core values of the Freemen flawlessly, I make sure you hold to that part. Understand that a lot of people like to say, well, Flight's an old military guy. Well, if you ever want to see an angry military Flight, become an active officer and mess up. You'll meet him. You won't like him. I just want you to be well aware of the importance that is placed. The entire burden of the Freemen rests on the shoulders of the officers, and there is a lot of work to do, and there is a lot going on with it. This does not mean that it's not rewarding. If you talk to any officers, none of the officers will tell you that they were unhappy with their time as an officer. I just want you to be well aware of what you're volunteering for when you volunteer. And understand, on top of that, you may not get exactly what you want at the same time. The second part of the officer corps and what's going to be going on with the officer corps is that everything will be temporary for the first 30 days. The Pirate Lord will be agreed upon based on who I assign to senior officers. I won't exactly be assigning a Lord. I will be assigning senior officers, junior officers, and support officers based on your PIF. After I have assigned that, the senior officers and junior officers will come together with their support officers in their very first meeting. And during that very first meeting, it will be discussed who will be taking on the role of a Lord, who will be the leader of the officers. The Lord is an extremely important individual as they take place and have say in all things Freeman, not just their respective fleet. Now, with that being said, that position is only temporary. At any point during the first 30 days, if we see cause for concerns, we will cut that individual. And we'll make sure to cut that individual for the safety of the Freemen. So the Freemen as a whole that are not a part of this and not really interested, do not worry. You do not have to worry about somebody getting power and becoming problematic, as we will be maintaining and watching. By the way, that was absolutely and physically impossible. That made no sense what you just did there. We'll be well aware and well cautious with everything that's going on. It'll all be scrutinized 100 times over, and the Freemen will continue the stand no matter what happens with this. Now, after the officer side is taken care of, then we go into charter regulations. I'm not going to go in about that. Just understand that each individual fleet has their own charter, which is kind of their own interpretation of the Constitution, which will mean a revitalization of the Pirate Code. Now, this will be changed because obviously since the last Pirate Code, the game has changed a lot. A great example of this is traditionally back in the old days of the SOT fleet, we didn't in any way, shape, or form attack sloops, unless we absolutely had to. Well, Now, a sloop is absolutely a deadly force. I've seen that myself. And there's the addition of the Reaper's Mark. Yeah, there's cursed cannonballs. There's a lot of differences since the very first pirate code was written. So you're probably going to see changes in that based on what the temporary officers recommend based on their knowledge of the game and their interpretation of the Constitution. Once the charter is written, or the petitioned charter is written, it will be reviewed 1,000 times over before verified, and then once verified, it will then be released to the public of the SOT community. Once released to the public of the SOT community, I expect everybody in the SOT community to read it. Check it out. It's not as long as the Constitution. It'll probably only be a couple pages long, if that. Read it and see for things you personally disagree with, problems that you have with the charter. If the Freeman majority does not agree with something in the charter, it will be changed before being 100% official. It's that simple. This is all something that the Freemen have always stood by, the democracy, and stood by what the majority wants, and we will continue that with the birth of this new fleet. Once the charter is in place, Discord channels will go live. Discord channels going live means there will be an SOT category added to the game hub. So they're not changing Discords, they're going into their own category. This will have all of SOT related stuff, SOT related things, all of that. They'll still be in the hub, still talking in the Freeman chat, still sending screenshots to the Freeman screenshots. They're still being, but they will have their own little just SOT announcement channel. Just SOT looking for crew, things of that nature. A little piece of the old Discord. After that goes live, there is a 30-day trial after that. That's a lot going on before the 30-day trial starts. As you can tell, this is a very long process. My hope is to have this all done so that come March 30th, or the anniversary of the Freeman, it will be 100% official that the SOT fleet is live, on its own, and standing strong. Now, there is current debate on whether or not the SOT will be returning to their own Discord or will keep everyone in one Discord. Personally speaking, the Constitution does not order it one way or another. I know that a lot of people have been asking that question. It's not ordered one way or another. It's just that we have to do the category first as a temporary hold. It will be up to the SOT fleet at the end of their temporary time once they become active. So that, unfortunately, I cannot give you an answer on. That will have to be wait to see what happens. If they do decide to go to their own Discord, the old SOT fleet Discord is still owned, is still under control, and is still archived. That's where they'll be going. Some of you may even go back and see some of your own old comments on there, because it has not changed since the day it was left. Yeah, the mixer box still tells there. We can't get it to work in the hub, but apparently it still works back there. Yeah, I get told multiple locations that I've went live. Thank you, MixerBot. Good old Microsoft, hashtag not a sponsor. Now, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the information that was coming out. Sloth, GSOs. The GSOs, you had something to speak about on that. All right, thank you, Sloth. Well, with Sloth's little plug-in done, let me go ahead and throw out. Midnight wasn't able to be at the recording, or the secondary recording, because he's at work. So I'll throw this out there for the network. The network is revamping, reboosting, and they started this process about a month ago, and I would say it's going rather well. I'm rather impressed with how much the network... Oh, hello. I'm in first person, and I just thought it was fun that you started waving a gun in my face. It's going rather well. It's actually very wonderful in my mind. I think they're doing a fantastic job. We're seeing more events. We're seeing a more variety of events. We're seeing better turnout on things. We're seeing increased in new members coming in thanks on to what they're seeing. We're seeing quicker edits and just phenomenal things done. One of my personal favorites is the little news network tune that starts at the beginning of Freemen Flash thanks to Timmy Two Toes and his skills. So I think that it's great that they're on the rise. But as always, with being on the rise, you need bodies. So this is another shout out. I know that Midnight and his officers are contacting individuals that volunteered to my comment that was in the throne room. Here's another one going out to them. I ask you, reach out to them. Reach out in the new Discord network chat. That's what it is. It's for you to chat about network-related things, ask network-related questions, and they could absolutely use the people. And when I say they can use the people, they can use you for anything and everything. Honestly, if you have, say, one really interesting idea for a game in GTA or another already verified game, aka it's on there, and you're like, I'd really like to stream this, or I'd really like to see, I don't know, a Red Dead Redemption boxing match. And you know what? I'm willing to set it up. If you are, contact them. Let them know. There's nothing stating that is an event host right there. They could use you. They can have you. And they would be happy to be taking advantage of the things that you want to do while at the same time being able to give back to the Freemen. So, please reach out to them, contact them, and see what's going on their end. Now, I do know that we mentioned this yesterday, but obviously I believe it got missed. Is we had a couple promotions, didn't we, Sloth? Who was promoted?
Listen, Tony Prince again. The Tony Prince.
You didn't include your audio in the party.
Oh, I did it.
Wait, say something again? I'm not hearing you on the broadcast at all, buddy.
Soft.
Oh, you come in and out.
Yeah, I can say that.
I don't know. We're not recording this thing again. Okay, just in case you missed what Sloth said. He said, congratulations to Tommy D and Easy for being promoted. It's all this bloody Microsoft. Oh my goodness. Hashtag not a sponsor. Well, with that being said, that is absolutely the end of this little broadcast. We got you all the information. Sloth Turner. I don't know how to emote in this game. I honestly don't know this game at all. If you were at the event on Friday night, the Wacky Races, everybody was a little upset because I do not know this game, and yet I did win a race. But that is because it involved flying. And if you were under the impression that I'm not good at flying, well, clearly you're not paying attention to my name. But we hope you all, I apologize again for the fact that this had to be done a second time. Absolutely. Expect a lot of changes in the Discord to come over the next couple weeks. Expect a lot of major things to be changing over the next while. Expect to see a call to arms for people to join the GSOs, a call to arms for people to join the network, and a call to arms for people to volunteer to be officers for the SOT fleet. And we're not going to talk about this. the last little bits of information that you may have gotten from the last broadcast that you're not going to get here at the moment. I'll be putting out a Behind the Thrones sometimes this month, expressing everything that's going on and what's going to happen in the coming days. But right now, we're not going to worry about that. And we're just going to ignore that. All right. As always, we're the Freemen of Nassau. We game together.
We die
We
together.
die together.